We're going to run through, talk about the UK and Ireland as a country. Look at the post-pandemic return to travel. You know, where are we? How is travel coming back? A look at the UK consumer, the structure of the UK travel market, and then how to actually engage with that travel market. So we'll run through, we'll go through all of that. There'll be plenty of time at the end if you'd like to ask some questions. And then separate to that, if you want to talk to me individually, then please do so. I'll be happy to talk about your sort of individual questions or requirements. So, quick introduction, that's me, Chris Woodbridge-Cox. As Yusuf said, I'm a senior partner at Finn Partners. We're a PR and representation agency. I've been around, you can tell by the colour of my hair, I've been around a long time. And these are some of the tour operators that I've worked with in the UK. People like Virgin, Club Med, EasyJet Holidays, people like that. I only actually transitioned over to the representation side in the last couple of years, so most of my life I've been a tour operator. Yusuf mentioned Finn Partners. As he says, we're a global independent agency. Got about 1,400 people worldwide, about 200 of them on the travel section. 33 offices across 3 continents. Just to give you an idea of the sort of destinations we represent, it really is a sort of eclectic mix. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, visit Orlando, right down to places like St. Helena in the Atlantic, one of the smallest and most remote islands in the world. But at the same time, we also look after individual hotels and lodges in Africa and places like that. So we're not just dealing with the beasts, we're dealing with a lot of small individual properties as well. So, about the UK and Ireland, please, I'm not trying to be condescending, I'm trying to just give you context. So if you know, some of you will say, oh my God, I know where Scotland is, you know, but let's just go with it, see how we get on. So, United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, not Southern Ireland. Southern Ireland is part of the EU, and if you follow the news at all, you'll know there's usually quite a lot of friction between North and South and trade barriers and all sorts of things going on. Total area, 242,495 square kilometres and an estimated population of over 68 million. So we've got a population similar to France, smaller than Germany, which is about 88, something like that, but still a significant number of people. So we're a constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy. Some of you might have seen we had a new king recently who has finally got on the throne. You'll also know that we tend to get through prime ministers quite quickly. We shuffle along, we have a few clowns, but hopefully now we've got a little bit of stability. London, obviously the capital, about 14 million people living in the Greater London area, and then Edinburgh, Cardiff and Belfast, the national capitals of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Other major cities that you'll have heard of, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, Glasgow, Liverpool. We're the world's 6th largest economy by GDP and the 10th largest purchasing power. Nice map for you, shows where the distribution really of the population is. London down obviously in the southeast, Manchester in the north more, and then Scotland right at the top. Northern Ireland over on the left, and then Wales in green. So, something about the travellers, almost evenly split between males and females. Average age of 50 years, probably no great surprise there. 67% tend to be married or living with a partner, 59% have children. So the majority of British travellers enjoy travelling for leisure, with 63% preferring to travel once or twice a year, but 35% travelling more than twice a year. If you lived in England for any time, you'd know why we need to travel. It's because it's pouring with rain the whole time, and we just need to get out. I mean, a good summer's day for us is maybe 24 degrees. One of our kings, I think it's George II, said that, how did he describe a British summer? 3 fine days and a thunderstorm. So that's why we need to travel. I think we've done that one. Oh no, yep. So the split, male and female, yes, 63, 70% spending 1 or 2 weeks in their destination. Preferred months to travel, particularly if you've got school kids, of course, May school break, and then July to September. But the reality is there is a massive market in the UK that can travel at any time, and they're the people who take advantage of the low season and get out and get good value for money. As far as holiday allowance is concerned, almost all workers are legally entitled to 5 to 6 weeks of paid holiday each year. If they don't use it, they lose it. So people tend to end up stacking it up, but they will take that travel and they're desperate to get away. Again, mid-February school break, Easter, school holidays, all the usual times that you might expect. But key booking periods, importantly, January to March is our real peak season. And then there's a second peak, which is September and October. And just to give you a context on the currency, we're about 1.15 to the euro, so 0.44 pounds to a convertible marker. So is travel returning to pre-pandemic levels? I mean, people are talking about this all the time. Are we back to 2019 levels? Have we surpassed it? It really depends where in the world you are. But in 2022, UK residents took an estimated 71.8 million trips overseas, 375% more than 2021. I mean, percentages are percentages, but that's really coming back strongly. They made an estimated 16.5 million trips to Spain, which is almost every year our top destination for outbound tourism. But in 2022, the estimated number of business trips has more than halved. Business travel is coming back much more slowly. It's not relevant to you, but it's coming back much more slowly. The Zoom and Teams meeting mentality is hanging in there and staying around a lot longer. But UK residents spent an estimated £60 billion overseas in 2022. So again, the money's there, the willingness to travel and people wanting to spend is all there. Just to give you an idea of where people tend to go at the moment, this is 2022. Spain, as you see, massively popular. Then France, Greece, Italy, Portugal. These are all the traditional fly and flop beach destinations that we tend to go to. And then as you come down, there's more local ones that we can drive to, Germany, Netherlands, etc. This is the World Tourism Barometer that was just released by UNWTO recently. So this is showing how travel is coming back from 2019. So in May 23, if you look at the Europe, the second one in from the left, in Q1, we're only 10% down on 2019, so we're nearly back. If you look at Asia Pacific, still got a long way to go. They're still 46% down. But strangely, in the Middle East, they're actually already 15% up. They've come back very, very strongly, and they're doing really, really well. So the UK consumer. Who is the UK consumer? These are all the challenges. I mean, I'm sure they're Europe-wide, but in the UK, we are really being hit with a cost of living crisis. You may have noticed, as I mentioned earlier, we've gone through a few prime ministers. We had a horrendous budget mistake a little while ago, and we've started getting interest rates up into the sort of double figures, up over 10%, which we haven't seen since probably 2009. We've been sitting at 1.5%, 2% for many years. So this is a real shock to us. But also our energy bills with the situation in Ukraine and everything else. Most people's heating bills have gone up in the region of something like 400%. So it really is a significant hit because we're having to pay so much more for gas and electricity than we were before. And we have our heating on 6 months a year in the UK, something like that. But we have the catch-up consumer. So 49% of people in the UK and Ireland said that limited opportunities to travel due to the pandemic made their holidays more important to them than before. And this comes across in all the research that's being done anywhere at the moment, is that we were all locked down for so long, we're desperate to get moving again. So we really want to get travelling, we want to get out of the UK, we want to get more stamps in our passports. So 46% expected to spend more money on their holidays in 2023, which is up from 29% in 2020. That's from ABTA. Revival of all-inclusive holidays. This isn't particularly relevant to your sector, but I think it's an interesting point that whenever there's an economic crisis, the UK consumer reverts to all-inclusive holidays. They like to know what they're going to be spending before they go. They don't want the surprises. They don't want to get there and not be able to spend the money in the restaurants and out and about. So we do see a shift back into a lot of all-inclusive whenever we've got a sort of crisis in the economy. The other point is, and this is quite important, trust in the trade. People are looking for security. They want people to tell them that their money's safe. They want professional advice. Pre-pandemic, we were really getting to a sort of commodity booking level where, you just go online and just book. So you book a flight with EasyJet, you book a hotel with Booking.com, you wouldn't care. When the pandemic hit and these things started getting cancelled, people realised that it was actually very difficult to unpick that arrangement because they had to go to EasyJet, then they had to go to Booking.com, then they had to go to the car rental company. So more and more they're turning back to the travel trade where they can have one relationship with a travel agent and they can go in, they can pay their money. If something goes wrong, they just go back to the travel agent and say, give me my money back. And the travel agent has to do that. And then it's the travel agent who has to unpick all the bits and pieces. So the trust in the trade is really, really returning. Holidays remain a priority. Again, whichever research you look at, it'll tell you that we are going to travel. We won't buy the new clothes, we won't buy the new shoes, we won't buy the new TV. We'll stop feeding our kids before we stop traveling. We're going to go. It doesn't matter, we're going to go. And you'll see that any research you look at. But also travellers are looking to get under the skin of a place. A few slides ago you saw all the big destinations, Spain, Turkey, whatever, all the big beach destinations, the fly and flops. But the reality is now more and more people actually want to do something on holiday. They want to get in, they want to meet the locals, they want to make a connection, and they want to come back feeling like they've really, really connected and got under the skin of a destination. And 86% of travellers want to travel more sustainably. I think we're all conscious of our carbon footprint and what we're doing to the world, and that we've got to start sort of unpicking it and put more back in. So we're starting to listen and look out for hotels and companies that have got sustainable credentials, that have started to talk about sustainability, starting to put something back. Grand View research, I think this is interesting again for your market. It's talking about a huge opportunity for the luxury travel industry, but again, the definition of luxury is changing. Luxury isn't necessarily now 5-star super spa destinations. Luxury can be a cabin on the mountain, but with your own private view. It's a different thing. But what people want is that they level up, and that's they go and they get their headspace clear. They're looking after their mental health more. They might make a radical change, finding a purpose, or even executing a vision. But it's getting more out of that holiday. And then in 2023, we'll see this paradigm shift to what they're now calling bleisure, which is this mix of business and leisure. And it's that reality now that with so many people, particularly in the UK, we're not going back to our offices so much. My company's personal position is you never need to come to the office. We can work at home every single day. We do go in because we like to be with each other. But there's still this massive hybrid working, and people are realising now that as long as they've got the internet, they can work from anywhere. And in fact, their bosses and everything will support that. Community first. So Booking.com's latest travel survey is sustainable tourism again. They want their trip to benefit the destination's local community. They want to put something back in. They don't just want to go and stay in a hotel and come back out the country. They want to mix with the locals, eat with the locals, put something back in. And then the wanderlusters around the world are trying to square their environmental and social concerns with their passion for travel. So they want to travel, but they want to put the money, again, back into the community and help preserve the tourist destinations. Travel less, travel better. It shouldn't be an alarming one for the tourism sector. Fewer trips can still be good, but what people are thinking now is, well, if I'm going to get on a plane for 10 hours or something on a long-haul trip, I might as well stay longer when I'm down there. So make more of it, but maybe do it slightly less. And then this idea of improving the world through travel. Again, I've said they can immerse themselves in local culture, money back into the community, and nearly 8 in 10 said they're trying to be more purposeful in how they plan their trips and which companies they book with. So again, they're looking for companies that are saying the right things and doing the right things. Electric road trips, possibly not ready for this yet, but you never know. People still want to do the road trip, but now they want to do it in an electric car. So you need to get your charging points, your infrastructure up. But we've got a range now, and some of these cars are 450 miles. It means that there's a lot more destinations now who are putting together road trips with an electric vehicle. And then longer duration stays and increased spend. We probably touched that one a minute ago. They can work remotely, set up in an office or a hotel. As long as they've got that Wi-Fi access, then they can stay for a long time. So impact and purpose now drive booking decisions now more than ever before. So travellers are focused on engaging in positive practices, including wellness activities, giving back to communities, protecting the environment, and more. Travellers are now spending more time thinking through who and what they are travelling for, with 78% of respondents wanting to have a positive impact on the community they're visiting. So that probably sort of sums up all those previous slides. People are now, they're not just paying money, getting on a plane, lying on a beach, coming home again. They actually want to come back and actually feel that they've experienced something and that they've also contributed something. So, immediate media. This is a survey which actually landed on my desk last week, and I thought it was quite interesting because some of this really relates to Bosnia and Herzegovina. So immediate media, they have the Radio Times. Radio Times is it's a publication which lists all the TV listings. History magazine is what it is. Olive is a food magazine. Good Food magazine, of course, is food. And Gardener's World is all about being outside and gardening. The readership of this is 50 plus, so just sort of take that into consideration. It's not a young audience, but I think it's still quite relevant, all the things that came out in their survey. Their headline findings, 58% have booked or would consider taking a special interest holiday in 2023. So not a fly and flop, but a special interest holiday. Average spend, nearly £2,500, so they've got money and they're ready to spend it. 51% are planning to travel destinations new to them. I think if there's one thing that COVID told us is that life's short, and all those things that you're thinking you might do one day, you've got to actually do soon. Don't put it off, do it now. 23% planning to take more holidays, short breaks in 2023 to make up for this lost time when we were locked down. And the key findings is respondents are looking forward to a mixture of relaxing and visiting natural attractions. So again, it's not just fly and flop, it's getting out, getting involved with the community. City breaks, most popular type of holiday short break. They're going with their spouse or their partner. Goes back to the sort of readership in the age sort of demographic I talked about. Wildlife and history, the two special interest areas respondents are most interested in. So 26% would consider a holiday around food. We love to eat different food, we love to explore all the local restaurants and things like that. And I thought this was interesting that City breaks, 53% the most popular type of holiday, but then they literally went down the line, and I've circled everything I think really relates to this destination. So, you know, right from the city break, the arts and culture, walking activity, food and drink, touring, group holidays, wellness or well-being, safari, but wildlife, yes, adventure holiday, other sporting holidays, volunteering, socially conscious holidays. You know, you're ticking all of these boxes, so you've really got an audience out there who can engage with you. Again, from the top, wildlife, nature, history, food, gardening, art, crafting, music, cookery, hiking. You know, you're ticking all the boxes. Back to the point about supporting the local community. 80% it's important to support the local community in the area I visit. 44% sustainability is an important consideration when booking a holiday. 40% I'll choose one travel company over another if they had a better environmental record. 39% my carbon footprint is an important consideration when booking a holiday. And 39% saying I would visit a new destination to try and help conserve areas from becoming over-travelled. And again, what they're spending, you know, £4,000 up, 25% of them. 57% spending between 1,000 and 3,999. So again, plenty of money being spent. You just need to go out and get it. So what this means for you, travellers are wanting to delve deeper under the skin of a place and immerse themselves in local culture. Cost of living is a factor in the UK, but those with money to spend still want to travel and are being very selective about where they go. They're looking for personalised escapes, which are elevated beyond anything they've previously experienced pre-pandemic. But they're also concerned about sustainability and the impact their trips have on the environment. They're also in the demographic which can afford to choose sustainable options. These people are spending money, they can choose, they can do something that's sustainable rather than just going for it. So it's an opportunity to highlight green credentials as well as explore partnerships with aligned sustainable brands to elevate the existing offering. And travellers, as we've said before, are also seeking this transformative holiday, giving you the opportunity to highlight nourishing food and wellness offering and everything you've got across the country. So the UK, that's all about the consumer. This is the UK travel market. In simple terms, our travel trade is made up of tour operators, travel agents and wholesalers. But of course, it's important that we know which is which and which one we need to engage with. So tour operators, TUI, Explore, TUI obviously big mass market, Explore, Intrepid, people like that, much more specialist. Travel Republic, big OTA or online travel agent, but acting as a tour operator. So the tour operator typically combines the tour and travel components to create a package holiday. They sell the package either directly to the consumer or use the services of a travel agent to do so. They do not sell anybody else's packages, they sell only their own creations. The travel agent, in contrast, is an individual or a company that arranges travel for clients on behalf of the suppliers. They simplify the travel process. There's people like Not Just Travel. BCD is actually a business travel, but in the UK we've got big chains, Hayes Travel, travel counsellors, and consortia like Advantage Travel Group and things like that. And then the wholesaler, which is probably less relevant to what we're talking about today, but a third-party organisation that sells hotel room nights, selling them to OTAs, people like Hotel Beds, U-Travel, etc. Now, we love an acronym, so just to get through a list of acronyms, because they're quite useful in the UK market. The DMC, I hope a lot of you here today are DMCs. We also call you ITOs. But you're a professional service company with local knowledge, expertise and resources, working in the design and implementation of the events, activities, tours, transportation and programme logistics. DMOs, destination marketing organisations. We work with an awful lot of DMOs, and the list I showed you at the beginning, sort of Abu Dhabi and places like that. all big DMOs. OTAs, touched on that, the online travel agents, Expedia, Last Minute, Viator, Airbnb, people like that. Now, ATAS, this is UK specific, the Association of Touring and Adventure Suppliers. Been around since 2017 when it was set up to pull together all the suppliers in this sector with a united goal of improving awareness and sales through the UK travel trade. So that's quite an interesting one for you to know about. ATO, Association of Independent Tour Operators. So these are the smaller tour operators who tend to be specialists. So a lot of the people that you would want to engage with will be members of ATO. ABTA, probably the best known, Association of British Travel Agents. It's a trade association, been around for 70 years. When the client sees an ABTA logo, it gives them confidence. They know their holiday's properly protected, and they know that it's safe to book with a company that's a member of ABTA. ATOL. If you sell a package holiday in the UK, which includes a flight, you need to have an ATOL. It's a difficult thing to get. The minimum ATOL you can have is for 500 passengers. But again, it's a security, it's got a logo. When the clients see it, they know that that's a serious tour operator that they should be working with. Just for context, largest UK ATOL holders, this is March 23. First time Jet2 has ever been above TUI, but Jet2 is growing massively. So 5.8 million capacity for carryings this year. TUI at 5.3, and then all these other guys, you can see they're the sort of mass market operators or big OTAs. So the top 10 account for over 20 million potential package sales. So it's not particularly relevant to you, but it's the context of the UK market. It is a massive market, and we are traveling. Okay, so that's the ATOL holders. So the important bit, how to engage with the UK market. Who do you need to target? I think we need to recognise that this is a niche destination. It's not suitable for mass market tourism. So if you recognise that, then you will recognise that you need to work with specialists who can adapt and work with the fantastic product available. So your route to market will almost certainly be through a wide range of specialist tour operators operating throughout the UK. There's no point in my mind for you to try and talk to travel agents or people like that. They just don't have the right skill set to bring people to Bosnia. So I've talked about the size of the market. You've seen the context of the ATOL holders and everything else. So within that, there are established UK tour operators specialising in all of these sectors. So we've got a really wide range of specialist tour operators: walking, hiking, archaeology, birding, educational, fly fishing, great one, mountain biking, of course, rafting, religious and cultural, wellness, and food and wine. Just a selection of some of those specialists. Some of you will know, many of them I expect. We talked about Intrepid earlier, Explore, Exodus, and then specialists like Aardvark McLeod for the fly fishing and things like that. So what do we need to do? We need to identify the targets. We need to find the right contacts, which is often the difficult bit. You need to polish your credentials. You need to go to these tour operators with something that is very decent and will get their attention. And then you need to hone your offer. You need to think about what you're taking to that tour operator and why it's relevant to them. So, in simple terms, get a spreadsheet, start to build up the information on the companies. Look who they are, how long they've been established, where are they based, do they have an ATOL license, are they members of ABTA, what I talked about a bit earlier around the acronyms. If they've got ATOL and ABTA, then they're very credible. If they haven't got anything on their website, dig a bit deeper, just make sure they're established and a serious operator. What similar and relevant product do they sell in other countries? So get on their website, have a good dig around, see what they're selling, and then think, well, actually, we've got that here. Let's put a package together and we can go to them with it. Do they already sell anything here? If they do, who it's sourced to give you that background and ability to build up an offer. So find the right contacts. This is often the biggest challenge, but use LinkedIn. If you search for the company and then find their people, you might well find the right person. You want a product manager, a product director, head of program, anything like that. But get on LinkedIn and start doing a lot of digging around. Follow ATAS, ATO, etc. on social media. These people are always putting out newsletters and everything else, and within those newsletters, the key people in the companies that you want to work with are often being quoted, they're often being mentioned. So just keep reading and you'll be surprised at who you can find. And again, read the UK trade press. They'll be quoted in Travel Weekly or TTG. Travel Weekly and TTG are both weekly publications that pretty much everybody in the UK tourism industry reads. Why should you read it? And I just had a quick look last week. Here we go, Travel Weekly, 10 of the best adventure and wellness trips. If you read below that, it'll be telling you about all these tour operators that do these trips, and there'll be a quote from the product manager who put it together, and there you are, you've got your contact, you've got the person to go and try and talk to. News about Active Travel Group. Active Travel Group, their biggest product is a ski operator, Ski Solutions, but they've also got a product called Cycling for Softies, and a soft adventure product as well. Within that article, there'll be a quote from somebody, again, product manager, something like that. It'll give you the contact, and then you've got somebody to approach. But also read the press, because you'll pick up some interesting tips. Here, get green claims right or risk wrath of regulators, Travel warned. What people don't want is for people to be talking about having green credentials when in fact they haven't got any. So don't, for want of a better word, don't bullshit. If you've got something really sustainable and green to talk about it, but don't make it up, because it'll come back and bite you. And then if you've been reading the TDG on the 8th of July last year, you would have read about Intrepid and their new Bosnia and Herzegovina expedition, which is a tour which stays completely within the country and is not just coming in and passing through like so many of the tours do. How many of you have a website in English? Fantastic. Fantastic, because as I say, we don't do other languages, so we need to see it in English. So yes, make sure you've got a professional website. Needs to be in English. If you need somebody to write it for you, then please do that rather than do it badly. Get it written well. And use quality images. Really, there is no reason not to have quality images these days. The days of out of focus and brown images and things like that. One of your major assets here is these fantastic visual images that you can have of your destination. So, we're talking about honing your offer. Having identified the companies you want to approach, then tailor your offer to them. When you approach a tour operator, they need to know that you understand their business. Don't send random emails to hundreds of tour operators. Even today, once a week I get an email from a DMC in Turkey that tells me they've got 40 buses, fantastic balloon flights, and they can pick my clients up at the airport. I haven't got any clients. We're representation and marketing. It's completely misdirected. And am I really, if I was a tour operator, going to respond to that sort of approach? When you approach a tour operator, they need to know that you've looked at their website, that you understand their business, and so you can go to them and say, hello, I'm so-and-so, I've seen your product, we've got this fantastic offer that we can complement what you've already got on sale, and this is how we can work with you. But make sure you really do target what you're trying to do. Look at what the operator sells elsewhere. Sometimes with an operator, they might be selling a tour in I don't know, Croatia, or it might be anywhere. But look at it and think about it and say, hang on a minute, we could do a tour in Bosnia and Herzegovina that would absolutely complement that. And if they've got a demand for that sort of tour elsewhere, why can't they have that demand here? So again, really try and look what they sell and then match to it. As I said, don't send a catalogue of 50 generic tours or something. You know, they just don't need that. They're busy people. They want a really direct approach and keep it relevant. And if you're offering something completely unique, make sure that this is really clear. You want to come across as the experts. You know, nobody else should be owning your space. You need to be the experts and say, this is the product we've got. This is why you need to come to us for it, because we know this. I can get you in here. I know the local people, etc. But also be concise. Don't ramble on. Don't send them pages and pages and pages, or they just won't read it. And as I said, use the best possible images. So last week, before I came out, I called up one of the leading specialist tour operators in the UK and said to them what I was going to be doing and just asked them for some sort of top tips and feedback. And these are some of the things that they said to me. So research my company before you approach us. I need to see that you understand our business and our product range. They don't want to be approached by somebody who doesn't know anything about them and is just, you know, wildly firing, trying to pick up business. Show me how you add value and demonstrate your specialist local knowledge. I touched on that a minute ago. You need to show that you're the experts. This is your patch, so you need to own it. Propose a product that already sells well in another market, but is not featured by UK operators. So maybe you're working with a German operator doing a particular tour, which is absolutely fantastic. Nobody in the UK is doing it, but why not? So make that proposal to them. Give me a ballpark cost on an itinerary that we're already selling so that I can see that you're competitive. They also want to know that when they do engage with you, that you're not going to be completely uncompetitive. So that will give them an idea that you're in the game. And then be clear, concise, and always get back to me when you say you will. If you need more time, tell me rather than keep me waiting for a response that isn't ready. The one thing that drives tour operators up is people say, yeah, I'll get back to you tomorrow with that. Nothing. If you can't get back to them tomorrow and you've said it, just tell them, sorry, I'm delayed. I'll get it to you the next day. Just briefly on the sort of marketing and social media. As we've said, your strongest relationship really needs to be B2B with specialist tour operators. I don't think you should be wasting your money on direct-to-consumer advertising. You just be pouring it down a pit. But just as you should research the tour operators that you're targeting, they will also check you out, and that's why you need that website. As soon as they hear from you, the first thing they'll do is look you up, see what you do, and see if you look like a professional outfit. And that's why with your website, you need to make it sure it's clean, clear, and just pay that little bit extra to have the secure URL so that, again, you look like a professional company. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn, create a company page, and post relevant content. Try and do it once a month at least. Just show that you're in the game and that you're ready to be contacted. Instagram and Facebook are great if you've got the skills and the time, but if you do it, keep it professional. Don't start deviating off into sort of the less professional side of those platforms. So a few key considerations for working with the UK market. You will almost certainly need a public liability insurance of around about $1 million or more, and that's a pretty standard amount with a European insurance company. Expect paperwork. There will be paperwork. Tour operators are scared stiff about being sued on health and safety and everything else, and they will want to make sure that you are compliant with the standards that they've got. So you will have to fill out a lot of forms, but having done it once, you should be okay. You will probably need to accept a UK jurisdiction clause in the contract. Most people do this. The tour operator I was spoken to last week about this, I think they've got 250 different agents they work with. Every one of them accepts that UK jurisdiction clause in the contract. That means that if anything did go wrong, it will be dealt with in a UK court or under UK law, rather than them having to try and understand local law or anything else. Now, if you work smart, you should enjoy a really long-term relationship. Again, what tour operators don't want is lots of chopping and changing. You know, they want an easy life, but they want a good relationship. So if you work smart, you should get a long-term relationship. And really, there are endless opportunities. This is the second biggest outbound market in Europe after Germany. Some years it's bigger than Germany. If Germany's having a bad year, we're bigger. It's a massive potential market. If you engage with it, you should have a long-term relationship with it. Just a small thing on trade shows. Everyone often says to me, which trade shows should I go to? There's so many trade shows. Trade shows are incredibly expensive to attend, depending on which one you go to. What I would say to you is, many of you might know this show already, New Deal Europe. This is probably the most relevant one for you guys in the UK at the moment. It's focused on the Balkans and the area around. It's speed dating, so you get solid meetings face-to-face with the people you want to talk to. What you don't want to be doing is wasting your money on WTM or ITB from an exhibitor perspective, because you will never get a return on that. That's just, there's just too many people and it's too unfocused. These speed dating sort of conferences now are getting more and more popular, and everybody is switching to them. We actually say to our clients, our big clients, we tell them not to come to WTM. We say, don't waste your money. Really, you can put it elsewhere. We haven't talked about ski, but obviously you had the TUI flight coming in last winter. If you're in the ski market, Listex is a good event to go to. And there's also the London Snow Show and the National Snow Week in Birmingham. If you're in that market, they might be worth having a look at. And then just on to halal tourism in the UK. I know some of you specialise in that and are interested in that market particularly. Halal tourism in the UK travel trade is a niche, if you like. It's coming up, but it's still very, very specialist. We've got an increasing Muslim population, so the proportion of people who identify as Muslim in the UK has risen by 1.2 million in 10 years, and so we're now up to 3.9 million, so that's 3.9 million out of 68 million or something like that, so it's getting more and more significant. What we're seeing is that rather than just travelling back to see friends and relatives to the country of origin, people are looking to travel to other Muslim countries or halal-friendly countries. And there's this growing middle class, so the new generation are looking to take 2 or 3 holidays a year. The last 10 years met their basic needs. The next stage is to take it to new destinations and authentic experiences. Generation Z, millennials and women are the most influential and growing demographic within the Muslim population. 70% are under 40, with Gen Z and millennials representing 50% of the population. And women travellers are one of the fastest growing segments within the Muslim travel market. So Generation Z and millennials are most likely to be travelling more in 2023 compared to other generations. Generation Z are the most likely of any generation to prefer international trips of 1 to 3 days. They're twice as likely to plan their trip with a month or less to go, so very sort of short term. 26% use social media for holiday inspiration. 51% visit a destination to show off on social media. And the young Muslim travellers expect their travel experiences to transform them in some way. So personal development, reconnecting with their Islamic heritage, or merging with the community on their travels. Female Generation Z appear to be the most keen on spending money on travel. 65% of young women from the UK compared to 51% of the men. And 75% of those who take cultural adventure or nature trips are women. So again, there's a massive market out there, I think the last point is quite interesting. If you're in the TikTok world, the hashtag solo travel Muslim women has 316.8 million views. So that's where they are if you want to see them. What should I do to appeal to the halal market in the UK? Well, obviously you've got to create a product and a marketing strategy to appeal to the emerging markets and ensure the photography is representative. So it needs to be of Generation Z, it needs to be millennials, it needs to be women. Make sure that's representative. Try and inspire the travel through storytelling. The audience enjoy exploring, meeting others, sampling foods, visiting the heritage, and hearing and having meaningful experiences. Maybe create a Muslim visitor guide or halal travel guide using an app or promote through social media. Generation Z and millennials are looking to take shorter and more frequent trips, so develop the product to suit that. Food tourism, we've touched on sort of in the more mainstream area. It's one of the fastest growing niche markets. So 95% of tourists seeking a food activity whilst on holiday. And then travel for Ramadan is forecast to increase, so work around that as well. And try and innovate in the sector. The new generation enjoy sharing their travel trips on social media and are looking for those bucket list adventures. Some final thoughts. In 2019, the average length of stay of the 15,000 UK visitors that came to Bosnia and Herzegovina was 2.3 days. That's not enough. They should be here for longer. You saw the Intrepid tour that I showed you earlier on. I think that's a 7 or 8 day tour. So there's a massive opportunity to increase the length of stay and grow the arrivals. So you can be the focus or sole host of a trip. Push the destination as a standalone destination. Build 4, 5 or 6 day packages or longer. Don't think you can only do a 3-day package because you've got to bolt on other countries. You've got to recognise the restricted airlift. You've got Wizz Air apparently coming back again in September. Hopefully they'll then stay perhaps through the summer season, we don't know. But even with that, you've got these other options with a one-stop from the UK through Istanbul, Vienna, Frankfurt, Zagreb and Warsaw, I think it was. If you go with Turkish, you'll get a free night in Istanbul, so it's actually quite a nice thing to do. We've talked about sustainability and everything. Don't greenwash, but promote your true sustainability credentials. Nobody wants you to talk about something that you can't deliver because it will come back, as I said earlier, and bite you. And lastly, just don't be shy. Own your space. This is your country. It's your destination. Own it. You're the experts. Don't let the other countries around you run the business for you. So, thank you very much. That's all I'm going to present today. I'm very happy to take any questions that you want now. There's a hand up. Good. I don't know if we're doing a microphone?
I think I can.
You can shout loud enough. Yes.
I have 2 questions. I have 2 questions. First one is, I find it very unfortunate that the only analytics from the need of the UK market would be halal. I'm interested that what would be the one, since it was more about how we should cold call or cold email and find potential partners, what would be the thing that UK would be interested immediately when they would analyze Bosnia and Herzegovina? Would it be the cheap?
No.
Yeah, so or like the land, the landscape, the history, the culture.
Yeah.
Halal, I understand that, but like I think we have so much more to offer. And the second question would be then the public liability insurance of at least £1 million. What does this mean? How can we get that from Bosnia since we are not in the EU or like UK? So like I would like to...
okay, so on the first bit, I think you've got to shout about all the things we talked about earlier, all your natural attractions, you know, the rivers, the landscape, the scenery, all of this. Don't approach this on price. This is not about price. You know, as you saw with the amount that people are spending, they can afford to come. And what they want is something different, and they'll pay for it. But you've just got to shout about all those things that you've got here that other people haven't got, or maybe if they have got, why it's better to be here than somewhere else.
Maybe can I rephrase it? I won't do it like an MHA, but what is the emerging need from the post-COVID travel industry in UK?
So it's to see new places, it's to be out and about, and all those things I talked about earlier about being involved with the local community, putting back, having some element of sustainability. These are all things where you tick the boxes. It's not something where we're talking about and saying, oh, actually, Christ, you haven't got that. You've got it all. So it's just having to try and package that and get it to people and show, look, this is what we can show you. This is what we've got. Come and see it. It'll cost you, but come and see it. On the insurance question, I'm afraid I don't know the detail of the background of your insurance industry in the country, but pretty much worldwide, the insurance companies are used to working with those sorts of figures. So I'm sure if you talk to your local insurers, maybe there is, I don't know if USAID have contacts or anything like that, but there must be somebody who's an expert in that field who will be able to cover that for you.
Yeah, there is insurance, but I thought maybe there is some special for the UK. Okay.
No, not particularly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you and the USAID, who knows how to pick up a presenter who would help us. And Mr. Chris, thank you so much for giving us this wonderful presentation. I work for an agency which works with the United Kingdom, and I'll just give you an example related to the dynamics from London, where we organized 5 to 10 people groups and clients who used to come only because of a glass of beer to Sarajevo Brewery. And at the time it was organized from Thursday to Monday. And I have to tell you that this was the most fascinating group I had. They spent a lot of money, and they were quite satisfied as well as we were. This is just an introduction for a question I would like to ask. So I'm in incoming tourism, and our problem in Bosnia and Herzegovina is, you have to believe me, and this one is politics. I would be happy if Mr. Feder would be a tourism minister in the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina or at the state level. Then I would be sure that we will have a stimulus as an incoming agency in the right way. So you, as a great expert, and through the experience you have in the United Kingdom or the Great Britain, I would like to ask you, how can you, based on your experience, help us to get the right incentive, what is basically our exports? Did you understand? So how can we get an incentive to bring people to Bosnia and Herzegovina, so for the incoming tourism? I know that Macedonia, they give €9 for each visitor that comes to Macedonia. Croatia also provides an incentive, Italy as well, Germany. So what's your opinion in those terms?
I suppose my question is, who is giving that incentive?
The government, the state. For example, in Macedonia, the parliament enforced a decision to provide incentives for tourism.
On that question, thank you for the question. So basically, what can be done? First of all, thank you for the job offer to Fedja. So team, please tell Fedja that there is potential and opening for him as a minister. He'll jump on the opportunity, I'm sure. So the question is, how can the government here be convinced to provide financial incentives and support to the international tour operators and travel agents to incentivize them to bring more people to Bosnia and Herzegovina? Okay. So the answer is not easily at all. But in 2019, Bosnia and Herzegovina had 1.6 million visitors. 1.2 million of them were international. The increase over 2018 was 12%, the third biggest increase in the world in terms of percentage compared to 2018. So what does that say? So they're looking at, I'll just switch between, they're looking for new destinations. And Yusuf in the introduction mentioned that we did kind of a roadshow in Brazil. We had around 75 travel agents. They sat there for 2.5 hours listening to what we had to say about Bosnia and Herzegovina. They never left the room. Not a single person left the room. They were astonished. They didn't know, but once they started to know, they got very excited. And many of the DMCs who participated with us started getting inquiries to send people almost immediately. So the travel agents here, or the DMCs, went to Brazil, met with a few tour operators. They presented the offer. They got excited. One, because the country is beautiful and has so many things to offer, but it is a new destination for the travelers from Brazil. And this is the key, I say, strength for Bosnia and Herzegovina for now. Not so many people know about the country. And not so many tour operators in the international market know about Bosnia and Herzegovina. So let's capitalize on that. The private sector, tour operators, travel agents, hotel service providers can collaborate together and go and identify priority markets that they can easily attract people. I'm going to give you an example on this, since we're talking about UK. Last year, we hosted a farm trip for Intrepid. Intrepid, they're one of the biggest experiential tourism tour operators in the world. Historically, they sold Bosnia and Herzegovina as an extension to Croatia. Best case scenario, 2 nights. So we told them, there's much more opportunities, come here, and so they came. 2 months later, they launched an 8-day exclusive Bosnia and Herzegovina program. Exclusive, 8 days. The first group is coming in 1 week, on the 28th. That's Intrepid, one of the biggest. We did the same with TTC, the travel corporation. They're UK-based, they have 40 brands under them. We hosted them on a fan trip. Immediately, I want to say immediately, as of the following week, they added 1 night. Because historically, they also, Bosnia and Herzegovina as an extension to Croatia. 1 week after, they sent their first group with 1 additional night in Bosnia and Herzegovina. In October, they're bringing 48 travel agents, 48, for a 6-day program for them to see what the country has to offer. What's the investment? It's much, much, much less than what would the government pay per person to bring in international arrivals. And can it be done? Yes. The travel agents can provide the buses, hotels can provide the accommodation, the activity providers can offer the activities, and the TTC, the 48 agents, no one is paying for their tickets. They're paying for their tickets. We're just providing services here. In partnership with the tourism board, and the service providers. So it's easy to do. Once you get everybody involved and focus on certain markets, it's easy to do. We did a roadshow in Jordan, and an airline is seriously considering to starting charter flights this summer from Jordan to Bosnia and Herzegovina. It takes just to let people know that Bosnia and Herzegovina exists and what it has to offer. And you mentioned also a very important point on the people you hosted from UK. So that's an example of when you focus on the interests of people. Because in the UK, they're interested in beer. You offer them beer, they came. Not only beer, but they spend so much more money while having good time having beer, and we have great beer here. So that's also another important point. Chris mentioned something, and we keep hearing about it a lot in our presentations, is that the solo female traveler, so that's a growing niche. It has been a growing market. It's not even a niche now, for a few years. And it's like 50% at least of the global travelers. So what are we really doing here to attract that particular market to Bosnia and Herzegovina? So we have the MCs here with us, or travel agents. Do you do anything specific to attract solo female travelers? Or not just solo, but maybe group of women. Do you offer any particular programs targeted exclusively at women to Bosnia and Herzegovina? Okay. So they come even without targeting them, it ends up. So imagine what you can do if you start targeting them. Hotels, we have hotels with us here as well. Do you do anything specific to basically capture that particular segment of the market?
Unfortunately, not yet. But we would like to hear some ideas from you.
Chris will come up with the ideas. I just posed the question. Think about it. Activity providers. Do we have activity providers here?
When you mentioned hotels, I believe that we should pull together and work jointly. It's a teamwork, and teamwork is the best way to attract a huge number of visitors. We did have experience some 10 years ago when we went to different fairs together, and we had increased results rather than doing it in segments. So my message would be for the hotels, for the DMCs, agencies, agents to come together and agree and then focus on whatever destination or market.
I just remembered one thing, actually, Sumaya, my colleague, mentioned, and it links to halal travel also. So we hosted another travel agency from UK that deals with halal travel. She came for 3 days, and we took her a tour in Sarajevo. And we took her to, Sumaya, what's the name of the place? Yes. There you go. Right. There's the guy. Before I visited their place in the old town, and it's a wonderful experience. And we took Sumaya, the UK travel agent, to visit the place. And she sent a group of 40 people to his place. That was not, the experience existed, it was not marketing or promoted enough. She saw it, an opportunity. And that travel agency deal with exclusive kind of experiences. Not many others offer it. So one single farm trip over 3 days resulted in a totally new experience, halal-based experience in the UK market, 40 people, 40. So that's an achievement. So we can do it. The point is, we can do it. Now, going back on the female segment, what can be done? I will jump in.
Yeah, he's going to jump back in. So now asking me about how women, I mean. I'm just trying to put my wife's head on now. I'll tell you what she'll tell you. A hairdryer. Hairdryer in the room, a plug socket next to a mirror, All these things that we'd never think of, you know. How long do we take doing our hair in the morning? Yeah. But yes, I suppose is, you know, let the women think about it, because... Oh, well, you can say that, but I can't. Yeah. But yeah, just put yourselves in their position and think about it. And from a women traveling solo, then also just think a bit more about the security, you know, locks on the doors, well-lit areas, all these sort of things that might otherwise maybe put women off more than their sort of male counterparts.
Exactly. So basically, it's based on research or what the women want when they travel. So that's really understanding their very specific needs and not the general needs. That can give you an edge. Another thing is basically go out with programs for the DMCs. Don't call them kind of women-only programs, but come up with a creative name that says it's for women. And we developed this program thinking of women and what their needs are, expectations and desires and motivations to travel. And design the program around that with key messages and the photos with the programs, all women, they're having a good time, regardless of their interests, whether adventure, culture, heritage, a mix, whatever it is. Just go out with these programs. It can resonate. So if you're going to the consumers directly, you can do that. If you're going through a travel agency, you can also provide these programs that are designed around women needs and interests based on research. Talk to the travel agency you deal with and find out what their target audience or segment look for when they do these programs. But target them directly. That's the key thing. When we start having multiple programs that are designed around and targeted to women, it will resonate, whether consumers directly or through travel agency. Wine tours, for example, or halal-based tours, or culture and heritage tours. Look for experiences, because women from research tend to look for more experiential things to do, something intimate, something in a group with other women that they can share photos, learn something new. They love to learn something new as opposed to see something. They like the interactive part of the experiences. For example, in Trebin and Banja Luka, there is the women embroidery in the museum in Banja Luka. And guys, help me, because maybe I forgot the exact place. But it is in Banja Luka, in the museum there. They offer workshops for embroidery. And that embroidery is protected. So it's not just any embroidery. So you have something unique, and they learn something specific about Bosnia and Herzegovina, working with women. So that's part of the things that can be offered or emphasized. Lots of things can be offered, but the point is target as much as possible. Be specific. You want women travelers, design something specifically for them and label it in a way, creative way, that it is targeted for women. Doing for families, target families and make sure the content is designed around families and so forth. As opposed to, people from UK come. It doesn't work. It used to work like this, but not anymore. So the more specific, the more niche, the more segmented you are, the better chances you're getting these people to Bosnia and Herzegovina. And the solo women traveler is an important segment, a growing segment. And here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, I'm not from here, as you can see. I'm originally from Jordan. But on the safety and security aspect, it's one of the it's the safest and most secure destination I've ever been to. 3 months after I came to Bosnia and Herzegovina, my daughter, she's in Spain. She's studying in Spain. She came for a spring break. So first day, or in the afternoon, we spent time together. Next day, 8:30 in the morning, I told her, Maria, go. So what do you mean go? I said, go, on your own. You're not joining me? No, I have things to do. Go. And don't come back anytime soon. That's exactly what she did. She spent 3-4 days exploring Sarajevo on her own. And that's after 3 months I'm here, and 3 months kind of locked down because of Corona. So that is that is guaranteed. There is absolutely no issue related to safety and security, and you don't even need to mention it. You don't even need to mention it. So that was my kind of intervention for this. So thank you for the inspiration on the solo women traveler, Chris. And if you have any other questions? Okay. If you remember other questions, you have our emails. Please send us whatever you have in mind. The presentation will be shared with everybody. The recording will also be shared with you soon, so you can share it with your team members and others as you wish. And that's it. Yes, did I forget anything?